Hello, good afternoon students. Today I am going to explain the remaining part of the IUPAC nomenclature. See, already I have explained the rules for writing IUPAC system. Some examples I have explained. Now I am going to give the trick. What is a negative ligand, what is positive ligand, and what is neutral ligand. I just give the list of these things. These are very important. If you don't know this, you cannot solve the coordination problem. So that you can take note on this, or else you have to take a screenshot. The positive ligand is hydrozonium ion. Hydrozonium NH2 single bond NH2 is called hydrazine. One hydrogen is added means hydrozonium, because it's a positive ligand. Positive ligand always end with IUM. That is why I am writing hydrozonium. It is prepared from hydrogen liquid mixed with water to form hydrozonium ion. Negative ligand end with O. Examples: fluorido, chlorido, oxalato. Oxalato coming from oxalic acid. It is a dicarboxylic acid, oxalic acid. And removing this 2 hydrogen, you get C2O4, 2 minus. This is called oxalato. This is oxalic acid, Oxalato prepared from oxalic acid. Oxalic acid is present in guava fruit. It is a weak acid. Next one is cyanido. Cyanido is a negative ligand. Nitrito is a negative ligand. Bromido is a negative ligand. Acetato is prepared from acetic acid. Acetato is a negative ligand. Thiocyanato. Cyanide. Cn stands for cyanide. CNS stands for thiocyanide, because S is a thio group in this category. So thiocyanide. NCS means isocyanide. Reverse of cyanide NC. NC is isothiocyanide. So these are all negative ligands, very important. Please take note on this. S2O3 is thiosulfate. Neutral ligands are named as such without any special name. No end with no IUM, end with no O. Just the name. But water is written as aqua. Ammonia written as amine, AMMINE. Note that double M stands to distinguish the original amine, organic amine. Right? Next, I am giving the examples for neutral ligands. CO carbonyl, NO nitrosyl, neutral ligands. These are all examples. CO means carbonyl, NO means nitrosyl. The NS2, CH2, NS2 is called ene. Ene is nothing but ethylene diamine, or IUPAC ethane 1,2-diamine. Next, this one, pyridine. Pyridine is an example of, it is a cyclic compound, heterocyclic compound. It is also a neutral ligand. So these are all very important information while giving the names of the inorganic compounds. In board exam, surely they may ask one or two substance. They give the, whether they give the structure, you have to write the name, or else they give the name, you have to write the structure. Like that, they will ask at least 2 marks, 1 mark or 2 marks. So this is very important part. That is why I have taken a long period to cover this part. One is writing the rules, IUPAC rules. Next one is examples. Now I have the missing point in that part I have given. So this will be enough for solving those problems. 10 to 12 examples I already given. That is enough for you. And also I will give homework after this class. I will give some new structures for solving the IUPAC nomenclature. The isomerism part, next one is isomerism part is omitted. According to modified syllabus, isomerism part is omitted. Therefore, we start with bonding in coordination compounds. Bonding in coordination compound, we have 2 topics: valence bond theory and crystal field theory. Already we discussed about Werner coordination theory, that tells about the primary valency, secondary valency, and Primary valency is a non-ionizable valency, secondary valency is a ionizable valency. That and all we have discussed. Sorry, primary valency is a ionizable valency, secondary valency is linked with the metal, therefore it is a non-ionizable valency. Okay. Now we have to explain the valence bond theory, because Linus Pauling, a scientist who gave the introduction about valence bond theory. Werner coordination theory not explain the magnetic property of coordination compound, and it is not explain the hybridization in the coordination compounds, and it will not give proper structure for the coordination compound. These are the drawbacks of Werner coordination theory. Therefore, to solve all these drawbacks, valence bond theory will come. Hello students, Werner coordination theory does not explain the nature of bonding between the ligand and the central metal atom. So valence bond theory came to explain the nature of bonding between the ligand and the central metal atom. We already discussed that the bonding between the ligand and the metal will be coordinate covalent bond, because the metal is an electron deficient species, it containing vacant d orbitals, where ligand is a electron rich species. In the orbital of ligand contain at least one lone pair of electrons. Therefore, they can able to donate electron. Whenever the ligand donate electron, it will be shared by the metal and the ligand. Therefore, it is called as coordinate covalent bond. This is the type of bonding between the metal and the ligand. Okay. So now I am going to tell about the features of the valence bond theory. One more thing, valence bond theory explains the magnetic and hybridization of the coordination compounds. So whatever the Werner coordination theory not telling, that is explained by valence bond theory. This is the advanced level of the level of the coordination compounds. Let us see the example postulates. Valence bond theory was introduced by Linus Pauling. This is the scientist who find the valence bond theory. The central metal atom or ion makes available number of vacant orbitals. Makes available number of vacant orbital equal to its coordination number. Suppose a compound having 6, coordination number is 6, metal is linked with 6 ligands. Then the metal prepares vacant orbitals, 6 vacant orbitals like this. This is a d orbital, 3d5, 4s2. Suppose it wants 6 vacant orbitals so that the bonding will take place, means it adjusts, it hybridizes by itself. 3d5, suppose 3d 5 electrons are there, 5 electrons are there, and initial stage, and during that hybridization stage, it will be adjusted by itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4s and 4p empty orbitals came, 3 electrons, 4p. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If it is a strong field ligand, means they themselves paired. They themselves paired here like this. Remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This empty d orbitals generated by itself, so that the incoming ligand will form coordinate covalent bond. I will explain with proper example. This will just for a hint I am telling. the central metal atom or ion makes available number of vacant orbitals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vacant orbitals in this case, because 6 ligands is there with respect to coordination number. Suppose my coordination number is 4, means the metal will make 4 vacant orbitals. It will make, then only the 4 ligand will form coordinate covalent bond with the metal atom. Okay, this is the first postulate. Second one, the vacant orbitals form covalent bond with the ligand orbital. This I have explained. Pairing of electrons. Okay. Next one is, a covalent bond is formed by the overlap of vacant metal orbital and filled ligand orbitals. This complete overlap leads to the formation of metal ligand sigma bond. So the overlapping, the bonding will be not a pi bond, it is a sigma bond. It is a head-on overlapping, end-to-end overlapping. This is very important point. The empty metal orbital and electron-rich ligand overlap with each other. They will form sigma bond, so the bond is stronger. Pi bond means the strong bond is weaker. Once again I repeat the 3 features of the valence bond theory. The central metal atom or ion makes available number of vacant orbital equal to its coordination number. Suppose a metal having coordination number 4. Example 6, FeCN6. The coordination number of this metal, central metal, is 6. So it will make 6 vacant orbitals. Then only the cyanide will donate electrons and they will form coordinate covalent bond. Right? Next point. These vacant orbitals form covalent bond. Covalent bond, coordinate covalent bond, both are same only. Here, a covalent bond is formed by the overlap of vacant orbital and the filled ligand orbitals and empty vacant orbital of metal overlap each other, mixing with each other. This is called hybridization. Here hybridization takes place. Overlapping or mixing, intermixing of atomic orbitals to get equal energy. Because suppose the metal orbital energy is less, then ligand orbital energy is more, means it undergoes hybridization. So whenever it undergoes hybridization, intermixing of atomic orbitals to form almost equal energy of a new set of orbitals called hybrid orbitals. In that hybrid orbitals they form sigma bond. This is given in the chemical bonding lesson, 11th standard. Hello students, I am going to continue the remaining postulates of valence bond theory. Fourth postulate, a strong covalent bond covalent bond is formed only what? Only when the orbitals overlap to maximum extent. It is very important. The sigma overlapping is very strong here. Maximum extent. Sigma overlap. So, a strong covalent bond is formed only when the orbitals overlap to the maximum extent. This is the maximum extent. We learned in the 11th standard. So, this is the point. The maximum overlapping is possible only when the metal vacant orbitals undergo a process called hybridization. This is also very important. Because after undergoing the hybridization only, the orbitals of ligand and the orbitals of metal having equal energy. So that is why if it is equal energy means they will undergo maximum overlap. If it have one is higher energy, one is lower energy, means the overlap is not that much stronger. That is the thing they are explaining. Once again I repeat, a strong covalent bond is formed only when the orbitals overlap to the maximum extent. Like this. This is a metal electron, this is a ligand electron. They overlap to maximum extent, sigma overlap, end to end overlap. This is called the maximum overlapping, which leads to strong covalent bond. If the covalent bond is strong, means they undergo a process called hybridization. While the metal vacant orbital and the filled ligand orbitals undergo a process called the hybridization. Sorry. Metal vacant orbitals only undergo a process called hybridization. They themselves arrange, because if 3D 5 means 5 electrons is there. During the hybridization process, they make it as empty and they will give space for hybridization. Undergo process. A hybrid orbitals have better directional characteristics. Directional characteristics only tells the shape of the molecules. Suppose coordination number 2 means the type of hybridization is sp. This under 11th standard we learned. Same thing only. So the shape will be linear. Example, beryllium chloride BeCl2. We learned that. If it is sp4, coordination number is 4. 4 ligands attached to the central metal atom. Then the hybridization is sp3. 25% S character, 75% P character. This is tetrahedral geometry. Example, methane is tetrahedral. Then 4. Suppose 4 means dsp3, dsp2 also possible. In this category it is square planar. Next one is 6 means d square sp3, octahedral. That is SF6 is an example, PCl5. Then sp6 is present means sp3d2, it is octahedral shape. Octahedral means metal is there like this. Like that, it is a shape called octahedral shape. Okay. Take a note on this. Next point is magnetic moment. A species having at least one unpaired electron is said to be paramagnetic. This we learned in the D block elements. Because the unpaired electrons having spin only magnetic moment, they rotate by themselves as well as it rotates the nucleus, generate some energy. This energy attracts the magnet. Therefore, unpaired electrons have paramagnetic in nature. Paramagnetic, the meaning is attraction towards magnet. Diamagnetic means repulsion towards the magnet. If the metal and ligand having no unpaired electron means that is diamagnetic compound. To find the paramagnetic compound, the magnetic moment mu is equal to root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magneton, where n is the number of unpaired electrons. This already we learned in the last chapter, so no further explanation. This I have explained. These are the 6 important postulates of valence bond theory. You have to copy it in your note or take a screenshot. It is very essential. These 6 postulates will help you for writing the valence bond structures for various coordination compounds. This part also important. Valence bond theory part is very important. Crystal field theory part is very important. Werner coordination point is important. IUPAC naming is important. And rules for writing IUPAC also important. These 5 parts are very important in this chapter. Take a note on this or else take a screenshot. in the transition elements, the n minus 1 is the transition element n minus 1 d orbitals having energy very similar to the outer shell electron ns orbital. Therefore, both are involved in chemical bonding. Suppose the ligands be strong, means they bond with the inner orbital complex, the n minus 1 d orbital. Therefore, it is called as inner orbital compound. Suppose the ligands should be weak, means it will bond with the nd configuration. So they are called as outer orbital complex. This is the matter. Next one, strong filled ligands. List of strong filled ligands. This is very important. Cyanide, carbonate are examples of strong filled ligand. Weak filled ligands, F minus, Cl minus, Br minus, I minus, S2 minus, S etc. are the weak filled ligands. Both strong and weak filled ligands are NO2. Sometimes it behaves as strong filled ligand, sometimes it behaves as weak filled ligand. Ethylene diamine, H2O, ammonia, erythia 4 minus. These are called as both strong filled and weak filled ligands. Hello students, now I have explained the postulates of valence bond theory. Now I am going to give example for the valence bond theory. Example 1 is iron compound. Iron is the central metal atom, cyanide is the ligand, and this is the counter ion charge. Okay, atomic number is equal to 29. Electronic configuration for iron is argon 18, 3d6, 4s2. Totally 26 electrons. 18 plus 6 plus 2, 26. Electronic configuration for Fe3 plus, because here negative ion, so this is positive ion, plus 3. This already we have discussed. So this is that is why Fe3 plus. If coordination complex is made up of cation and anion. If anion is negatively charged, means cation is positively charged. How many negative charge? Which is equal to positive charge. So iron known as 3 electron. That is why this one. Electronic configuration of Fe3 plus is 3d5 4s0. Then Fe3 plus is equal to 3d5 filled 4s0 filled. Suppose 6 cyanide ions, cyanide ligands form coordinate covalent bond with ion. Then the inner orbital complex created, because cyanide is a strong filled ligand, so it will be strongly attracted to the inner cell. Therefore, the first they themselves adjusted, the 3D cell adjusted to give the space for 6 incoming ligand, 6 incoming electrons of ligand, so that they adjust like this. This is only for inner orbital complex. For outer orbital complex, there is no change in the 3D subcell. That also you have to keep it in your mind. So, in the inner orbital complex, these 5 electrons adjust by themselves like this. They pair up in the, that is I told that in the they generate vacant orbital, first postulate. They generate vacant orbital for the incoming filled ligand electrons. Okay. Next step is now the empty orbitals coming for ready for hybridization. Which type of hybridization is d square sp3 hybridization? 2 d orbital, 1 s orbital, 3 p orbitals. Therefore, it is d square sp3 hybridization. So 6 cyanide ligands donate electrons, pair of electrons. Each cyanide donate a pair of electrons to the central metal atom. 2, there are 12 electrons donated. Now here all the electrons are filled. Now the coordination compound is formed. Now I am going to check it. How many unpaired electrons? Is there any unpaired electron present here? 1, 2, 3. 1 unpaired electron is present. Therefore, it is paramagnetic in nature. I am going to check the magnetic moment. N is equal to number of unpaired electron. N is equal to number of unpaired electrons. N is equal to number of unpaired electrons. How many unpaired electrons here? 1. So magnetic moment mu is equal to root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magneton. 1 into 1 plus 2 Bohr magneton is equal to root 3. Root 3 is equal to 1.732 Bohr magneton. Okay, this is the one example for valence bond theory. First you have to write the structure, write the atomic number of the metal and electronic configuration of the metal, and after that you have to write the electronic configuration of a metal cation, and you have to check the ligand is strong filled or weak filled ligand. If it is strong filled ligand means it is inner orbital, it forms inner orbital complex. Therefore the electron in the 3D subshell adjust by itself like this, and it will give vacant orbitals for the incoming ligand for filling the electrons. Next step, 6 cyanide ligands. Totally number of ligands is 6. The cyanide is a strong filled ligand, so it donates 12 electrons here. It forms a new set of hybrid orbital is d square sp3 hybrid orbitals. So the shape d square sp3 already the shape given in the table. You have to check the table. I think it is octahedral shape. The magnetic moment is 1.732 Bohr magneton. I hope you understand this concept. Next I am going to give one more example for this same valence bond theory. Hello students, now I am going to explain the second example. This is Fe(F6)4 minus. The outer electronic configuration of ion is 3d6 4s2. Of ion is equal to 3d6 4s2. Ion atom electronic configuration is 3d6 4s2, 4 piece empty d orbitals because the d block element. Fe2 plus ion. How you get this Fe2 plus ion? Because the oxidation state of this ion is 2. Let us check. X is the central metal atom we have to find. Plus 6 into minus 1 because fluorine is a negative ligand. See, in the beginning of the class I have given the list of negative ligand, positive ligand, neutral ligand. So in that category fluorine is a negative ligand. This is not 4 minus, it's 4. 4 equal to 4. So, sorry, 4 minus. X is equal to minus 4 plus 6. X is equal to plus 2. So, this is the oxidation state of ion. In this way, I have found the oxidation state of ion. This is Fe, this is F6 equal minus 4. For that I have neatly explained coordinator. Okay, so I have found it is Fe2 plus for it. So 3d5 for Fe2 plus means 2 electrons removed. 3d5 4s0. Sorry, 3d6 4s0. 3d6 is present. S orbitals removed. Then I am include 6 fluoride ions here. Because it is a weak filled ligand. It undergoes inner orbital complex. It undergoes outer orbital complex only. Outer orbital complex. For weak filled ligands, they undergo only outer orbital complex. That is Nd only coming for the overlapping. Here 3d6 as such, it is not changed, it is not adjusted. So instead of that we can include one more vacant cell is 4d, that is given because these d block elements contain vacant orbitals. So 4s, 4p, 4d, because we need 6 fluorine. 6 fluorine donates electron to the central metal atom. Therefore, we adjust the vacant orbitals like this. So this we cannot adjust because it is a weak filled ligand. Weak filled ligand not strongly attracted to the inner orbital. It just attracted to the outer shell orbital, Nd orbitals. Therefore, it is like this. Then 4s empty orbital, 2 electrons from fluorine filled. 4p empty orbital, 6 electrons from 3 fluorine filled, and 4d empty orbitals, 4 electrons from 2 fluorine filled. Therefore, the hybridization of this one is 1s orbital, 3p orbital, 2d orbital. Therefore, it is sp3d2 hybridization it undergoes. Next, the magnetic moment. Number of unpaired electrons. We have to check the number of unpaired electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, number of unpaired electrons equal to 4. The spin-only magnetic moment of this FeF6 system is 4 into root of 4 into 4 plus 2 is equal to 4 into 6, 24, root 24. Root 24 is equal to 4.90 Bohr magneton. These data are given in the D block elements last page, magnetic property page. These data are given. You just read the data, then it is easy for you. Next, the molecule is paramagnetic because it contains unpaired electron. Geometry is octahedral. Octahedral means like this. 6 fluorine linked with iron. They form octahedral geometry like this. This is the octahedral geometry of FeF6 4 minus. FeF6 4 minus. So I have explained all the terms in the weak field ligand and the strong field ligand. One example for strong field ligand given, one example for weak field ligand given. I hope you understand all this concept. First, you have to write the outer electronic configuration of ion 3d6 4s2. Second, you have to write the orbital diagram. Next, you have to find the oxidation state of ion. It is +2. Therefore, Fe2 plus. Fe2 plus means 2 electrons in the s orbital removed. Next one is 6 fluoride ligand. 6 fluoride ligand is a weak field ligand. Fluorine is a weak field ligand. Therefore, it does not attract the inner orbital of the transition element. It only form chemical bond, coordination bond with the outer electronic configuration. Therefore, we can include one more subcell called 4d subcell to fulfill the 6 fluorine atoms. After filling this, I have checked there are 4 unpaired electrons. If unpaired electron present means it is paramagnetic. So number of unpaired electrons equal to 4. Spin only magnetic moment is equal to root of 4 into 4 plus 2 Bohr magneton is equal to root 24 equal to 4.90 Bohr magneton. And the hybridization here is sp3d2. If it is sp3d2 means already I have given the table, check the table, it is octahedral in shape. I hope you understand. It's a very simple questions, but it is very important questions. These type of questions, every examination, every CBSE board examination, these type of questions they may ask. And I already told you the IUPAC names given for the structure or IUPAC structure you have to write for the given names. That are very important. Take a note on this or else take a screenshot. See, I am giving extra notes. These structures are not given in your textbook, but these are frequently asked questions in the CBSE board. And one more thing, some valence bond theory in your textbook, they are giving simple points only. I have given my notes for your better understanding. Hello students, now I am going to explain the question present in the textbook page number 248 NCERT question. They are going to write, we are going to write the valence bond theory structure for nickel tetrachloride 2 minus, that is given. Electronic nickel atomic number 28. Nickel electronic configuration is 3d8 4s2. Therefore, first you have to write the electronic configuration of nickel atom 3ds 4s2. Then the orbitals for nickel 2 plus ion. How it is nickel 2 plus ion? Because it contains 2 negative charge. So if it is 2 negative means it is 2 plus. We have checked it. X, nickel is X. Plus chlorine is a negatively charged ligand, 4 into minus 1 equal to minus 2, right? X equal to minus 2 plus 4, X equal to plus 2. So this is the oxidation state of nickel ion, plus 2 oxidation state, right? Understood? So in the electronic configuration of nickel 2 plus ion is 3d8 4s0 4p0 empty orbital. Next, nickel tetrachloride. This is the structure we want. In this, the chlorine is a weak filled ligand. Weak filled ligand only form the bond with outer orbit of the metal. So it is called high spin complex. Other name of this outer orbital complex is high spin complex, and the other name of the inner orbital complex is low spin complex. That is also very important point. So now I am going to fulfill the 4 chlorine atom. Each chlorine donates 2 to 2 electrons. Therefore, chloride ion Cl minus. Each chloride ion will donate 2 electrons to the empty s orbital and p orbital, 4s and 4p orbitals. Now it is 1 s orbital and 3 orbital including hybridization. Therefore, it is a sp3 hybridization. Always you know that sp3 hybridization is tetrahedral in nature. This is the tetrahedral structure of this compound. Next, I have to check how many unpaired electrons present in the structure. 2 unpaired electrons are present. So number of unpaired electrons is equal to 2. Spin only magnetic moment is equal to root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magneton. 2 into 2 plus 2 root 8. This is enough. If you want to remove the square bracket, you can write the answer. That is good. Next, it is paramagnetic, unpaired electrons. So go through one time. Very simple. It is textbook based problem. It's a very simple problem. Still some problems are there. And next class I will continue. With this I can wind up the class. Patiently sitting and listening is very important. You have to go through the 40 minutes video. Practice yourself. It is very important part. Practice 1 or 2 times or whatever it is, and practice with the previous board paper also. This is very important part. Surely it will get 2 to 3 marks. Thank you students. God bless you.